Welcome back, Downtimers. I hope you all are having a great day whenever you're watching this video. So I'm gonna make this video about my spoilers for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So if you have not seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I highly encourage you to come back to this video after you have already seen the movie. I did do an instant thoughts about the movie that posted, I believe that was on Thursday. So if you want to just hear my thoughts when I came right out the movie that does not contain any spoilers, I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this video and in the description below. But we're going to get right into spoilers. So look, if this is your first time visiting the channel and if you like the content that I produce, don't forget to leave a Hulk smash on that like. Likes help this channel out in a big way. The more people that click that like, the more people are gonna see this video. Hit that like, y'all, please. Also, if you really like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll receive a notification whenever a new video goes live up on this channel. So we're gonna get right into some spoilers, man. I just gotta say, I love this movie and I will be going to see this again. Today is Sunday, November 13th. I will be going to see this again tomorrow evening. This will be my second viewing, seeing this movie at the time of this recording. So the basic plot around Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it picks up 6 years after the events of, I want to say it's 6 years after the events of Avengers Endgame. And so what's happening is T'Challa, King T'Challa, is dying of a disease and Shuri is trying to heal him. The problem is that in the original Black Panther, Killmonger destroyed all of the heart-shaped herbs, so there's no more herbs to really, heal people the way that they could before and bring people almost back to life from death. And so because of that, and Shuri being very intelligent, she is trying to basically recreate a synthetic version of the heart-shaped herb in an effort to save her brother. Unfortunately, she comes up short and T'Challa dies. And this is where the movie gets really, really sad. You kind of see it coming. And then, nice choice by Marvel to change out the Marvel Studios intro that they do at the beginning of all of their movies, where they show the one with Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa Black Panther. They basically just replaced all of those images with images of him in Black Panther, and it was a very, very, very nice way to open the movie and very emotional. It was very quiet. There was the Marvel theme music that normally plays during that, the dun 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 dun. They took all of that out and they just went silent because they wanted you to know, they really wanted to be respectful for the moment. And I greatly appreciate that. So when the movie picks up, there's a funeral for T'Challa, and it's a really nice ceremony. Everybody's wearing white, and you could really just feel, you could feel the emotion of that. And it felt like a real funeral, and they had one of the Wakandan spaceships they had the casket that T'Challa was in, and the spaceship took him up in the casket or took the casket up into the spaceship, and the spaceship went away, and it was just a very solemn, sad moment. And what I'm saying right now does not really give it justice at all. It was a very, sad moment, but it was a necessary moment, but it was handled very, very well. And I really, had a great level of appreciation for the way how classy everything was done. And so after this is where things start to get really interesting, because Queen Ramonda is attending a UN meeting. And in the UN meeting, countries are basically criticizing her for the way that they, meaning Wakanda, has handled not, giving out their vibranium to help out countries and stuff like that, since they have now opened their borders to the world. You know, it's just one of those problems that happens, man, when you have all these resources and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to help the rest of the world. Not a good idea. So these people, basically, these countries, I think France was a country and there was another country, they just basically chastising Queen Ramonda while she's up there, and she's having to just listen to all of this, and she handles everything. Angela Bassett, she handles everything with so much grace. And so, you know, when her time comes to speak, she's basically saying, look, I know that y'all have been trying to get this vibranium from us for a very long time, and it's been our policy that we do not open our borders to the world. But I'm gonna tell you something. If y'all keep trying to come up in here and roll up in here and take our vibranium without us knowing about it, we gonna unleash holy hell on y'all. And she brings in people that were, I believe these were military officers from, I don't know which country it was. It could have been any country, because several countries were trying to come in. And, you know, she comes in and well, she doesn't come in. The Dora Milaje brings in these captured soldiers that were captured trying to steal vibranium off of this, I want to say it was some kind of ship or something where they were drilling down into the ocean. She brings them into the Dora Milaje brings them into the UN meeting to basically say, we know what y'all up to. Stop it. You do this again, we're gonna unleash holy hell on y'all. So that basically sets the precedent for, you know, what everybody is what's really going on. So the CIA is like, you know, hey, we're gonna do it anyway. So they start drilling and looking for this vibranium using a device that was created by an MIT student named Riri Williams, who is also known as, or will be known as, Ironheart. Very smart African-American teenager at MIT. So they're drilling, and while they're drilling, they find it, but then all of a sudden, they realize that, uh-oh, we're about to get attacked by these blue people that look like they're from Avatar. These are actually the Talokans. I believe that I'm saying that right. But these are basically people that have lived underneath the land, you know, underwater for a while, which, you know, is because of something else that happened a long time ago, which I'm trying to decide if I want to go into that right now, because I don't want to make this video really long, but long story short, Namor and his people had to move underground because, they had to move underwater because there was some kind of weird smallpox or some kind of disease that happened, and they took this vegetable or some kind of plant that basically saved them. Well, they died, but they realized that in order to stay alive, they could only live underwater. So they all moved underwater. They built a city called Talokan, and there was vibranium there. And so when the CIA is coming there drilling, they were like, wait a minute, why are y'all coming down here? So that's when you see, you know, the Talokans and Namor's people basically kill these people from the CIA. So Namor finds out about this. He's the main villain. He's not a true villain, but he's basically, you know, he has a reasoning for what he wants to do. And there's a motive and a certain level of understanding why he is the way he is, kind of like how Thanos was. So after this, then you have Namor basically confronting Shuri and Queen Ramonda about the fact that these CIA people are coming down into their territory, and they're blaming Wakanda for this. And they're basically saying, look, if Namor is saying to Queen Ramonda and Shuri, if you don't tell me who this is, or if you don't bring in the scientists, rather, that created that device that the CIA was using to drill down into this ocean where we live, we're gonna come back and attack you guys. That's what Namor says. So he goes away, and then at this point, Okoye and Shuri go to Boston to go to MIT. What they're really trying to do is they want to get Riri and protect her because they know what's about to happen. Unfortunately, in the process of that, They get attacked by not only the CIA, but also the people from Talokan. They come underneath from, the water. They end up, there's a big fight. And then Shuri and Riri end up getting kidnapped. And they're being sent down to underneath the water to meet with Namor. And when that happens, Namor wants to try to reason with Shuri to say, hey, this is the reason why things are. And Shuri is agreeing to a certain point, but she's like, I'm not agreeing with this to just kill off everybody for what happened. And so Namor is like, look, if you don't want to build an alliance with me and attack all of these people and all these countries on the surface world that did all this stuff to me when I was younger and my families and stuff like that with the colonizers, then I'm going to attack you first, and then I'm going to destroy every other country and nation on the surface world. So Queen Ramonda gets wind that Shuri and Riri are captured, and she gets in touch with Nakia to basically rescue them. Nakia does rescue Queen Ramonda, she rescues Shuri and Riri Williams. Mind is all over the place, excuse me. So they end up getting rescued by Nakia. In the process, Nakia kills one of those soldiers, the people that serve with Namor, one of the Talokans. Namor finds out, he's not happy about it, and this is when he unleashes his attack on Wakanda. And man, when they show this part right here, it is really, when that first big blast of water shoots through, they did that on purpose because it really like scares you. There's this like, you just see like the people of Wakanda walking through the streets, and they're noticing like the streets are wet, but there's no rain and it's just sunny. And then Okoye is shown, and she's looking around, and she says, we're under attack. Next thing you know, boom, there's this big burst of water that just comes flooding in through Wakanda. All of that leads up to a fight where the city gets flooded. And then unfortunately in the process, kind of fast forwarding a bit, Namor ends up breaching the window where Queen Ramonda and Riri Williams is, and he uses some bombs to just blow open the window of the throne room where they are, and water just explodes in at a humongous rate of energy, essentially drowning Queen Ramonda. Riri Williams is saved from that, but then Queen Ramonda passes away. Now, I'm going to veer off just from the play-by-play for a moment. I want to just talk about that for a moment because I'll admit, I was not expecting them to kill Queen Ramonda. I mean, Angela Bassett's acting performance was so great in this movie. And the thing that I'm thinking about is, man, they have killed off so many characters in the Black Panther franchise already. Because if you think back to the first Black Panther movie, you already had Forrest Whitaker, who was Zuri. He got killed off. Eric Killmonger got killed off in the first movie. Of course, not Michael B. Jordan, but of course we all know T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, he passed away in real life. And I'm just thinking to myself, the one thing going into this movie that I was thinking, I wasn't even thinking about anybody dying. I really wasn't thinking about that. And then they kill Queen Ramonda, and as much as I love the movie, I kind of feel like it was an unnecessary death, but I get it. Because that's typically how a lot of Marvel films are. If you think about movies like the Spider-Man movies, you could think about, there's other movies as well. There's always some kind of tragic death in those movies. With Spider-Man, it was Ben Parker, Peter Parker's uncle. I'm trying to think of another example, and I'm probably not, off the top of my head, that's the only one that comes up, but the bigger point that I'm trying to make is just that in a lot of Marvel films, this is what you see. You see unfortunately, there's a tragic death, and in this case, it was Queen Ramonda. Very, very sad, very, very shocking. Didn't really expect that. So while all of this is going on, I mean, Shuri, she's really having to grow up at this point. She's not that little kid sister that she was to T'Challa in the first Black Panther. She is really, you can really tell, especially after Queen Ramonda dies, she really has the weight of the world, or at least the weight of Wakanda on her shoulders. And so she's actually able to create a copy, well, not really a copy, but there was a plant from Talokan underwater where Namor and his people were. She was able to get some of that and use that as, I guess, some sort of base to create what she needed to make to remake the heart-shaped herb synthetically. Once she did that, she was able to consume it, and she didn't have all the rituals like they normally do, where they bury you in sand and all of this and that. But you know, she did consume it, and she went to the ancestral plane. And I want to say, I don't remember this part. I don't know if she was looking for her brother, T'Challa, or her mom, but she ended up running into, in the ancestral plane, Killmonger. You know, because yeah, that's what. And then, you know, he was basically, you know, trying to tell her in so many ways, you know, you don't need to be weak. You need to take a stand against what's happening right now. And, you know, that inspires her to not really be as noble as her brother was or anybody else. And she kind of, it's almost like after she comes back from the ancestral plane, you can tell something is different about her. She's almost got like an edge. She is a little more feistier than normal. And she realizes, she didn't think it worked at first. She thought that it did not work consuming the heart-shaped herb, but it did. And she ended up having the powers of the Black Panther. And she got that Black Panther suit with the black and gold, and man, it looked really, really good. It looked nice. I was like, wow, that looks better than the first one. I thought so anyway. So then at this point, this is where you see a battle ensue between the Wakandans. It's basically a trap for Namor's people. There's a big battle ensues, or a big battle ensues. And then at that point, I don't remember all of the details, but the battle scene was really awesome. I really did like that on water battle scene between, you know, the people of Talokan and the Dora Milaje. And this is also where we see Black Panther, or Shuri's Black Panther, fighting for the first time. And I thought there was some really cool moves with her, you know, sliding down the side of that ship and everything. It was really, I thought that was really well done. Eventually, she and Namor get into a big fight. They end up being, you know, sent. They weren't sent. They were on this ship, and the ship was destroyed by one of Namor's people, I believe. And during the explosion, both of them ended up landing on this desert island. So there's this big fight, and you know, Shuri, for the most part, she's holding her own against Namor, which is pretty impressive because they said Namor is like as strong as the Hulk, or just about as strong as the Hulk. And so, yeah, you know, long story short, you know, Shuri ended up winning the fight, but Namor had to yield. Shuri actually made Namor yield, and she was going to kill him. But right before she was going to kill him, that's when she got a vision of Queen Ramonda from the ancestral plane. And she says, Shuri, show him who we are. And then this is where, you know, she basically says, you know, yield and we'll work together, but not to kill everybody, but, you know, we'll work together or something like that. I don't remember the details on that part. And so basically Namor yields, and Namor agrees to work with them. And then there's a peaceful alliance at that point between the Talokans and the Wakandans. And so, you know, kind of jumping around or jumping forward a bit more, getting ready to wrap this video up. But what happens next, or the next real big moment, if I'm not mistaken, is where Shuri goes off to burn her ceremonial robe that she wore at the beginning of the movie during T'Challa's funeral. And after she does this, oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that M'Baku goes to Warrior Falls before this happens, and he's basically saying it's Challenge Day. And it's a really cool moment. I wish they would have spent a little more time there, because I really like the Warrior Falls scenes in the Black Panther movies. I always enjoy that. And I'm glad they went there, but I wish they would have done that a little bit more. So it's assumed that M'Baku is now the new ruler on the throne, I'm guessing, for Wakanda, while Shuri has the mantle of Black Panther. So let's go back to where Shuri is now burning the ceremonial robe. And then pretty much this is where the movie ends. The mid-credit scene picks up where Shuri is still on that island or someplace burning this ceremonial robe. Nakia and this little boy who's about 6 years old come down to meet Shuri. And then Nakia introduces this little boy to Shuri as, this is your aunt. And Shuri is like, what? What's going on? This little boy, by the way, looks just like Chadwick Boseman. I mean, he could easily be Chadwick Boseman's son, easily. And so the little boy starts speaking, and you can just kind of sense something about him. There's something special about him. And then next thing you know, he says, my name is Toussaint, but my Wakanda name is T'Challa. And Shuri is just like overwhelmed with, you can tell she's a little bit confused and happy at the same time. And it just lets you know that this is the future of Black Panther in the MCU, that they're going to recast T'Challa like a lot of people want. And this little boy is going to grow up to eventually be the next king of Wakanda. Now, one point that I did not mention is that Nakia, after she had this child with T'Challa, T'Challa agreed to have the boy raised outside of Wakanda because he did not want the boy to experience the same pressures that he experienced, having to grow up with the pressures of dealing with the throne and everything that came with that. And so the boy and Nakia were in Haiti this whole time. After the snap of Avengers Endgame, that's where they were living. So that pretty much covers everything that happened. I may have missed something possibly, but yeah, it was really, really good and very sad. One thing that I will mention that I forgot to mention, there's one more sad moment right at the end, right before the mid-credits start. I think it's I forgot if they showed this during the mid-credits or was this like right before the movie ended, but they show this really cool montage of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa in the Black Panther movies, just different scenes of him acting his roles. And there's one scene where he does the Wakandan salute with Shuri, and a few other moments. And it's really touching and it's really powerful, and they really took the music out and to just let that moment just breathe on its own, and it's very emotional. So if you watch the movie, there's a good chance you probably cried at that moment. I know I was starting to get misty-eyed, very powerful movie. I'm gonna be going to see this movie again tomorrow, a day after the day when you're seeing this. So I'm gonna check it out again. But I'm wrapping this video up. Those are my thoughts for the spoiler review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. What did you think? Post your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. On the way out, hit that like if you like this video, share this video. If you can see this video, man, you are truly blessed. And as always, what are you gonna do in your downtime? Peace and Wakanda forever. Subscribe!